Although Vita Health Group provided this exercise class provisional with your health and safety in mind, each individual participant has their own limitations and should consult their general practitioner or an appropriate medical professional prior to undertaking the class. Should you be prone to injury, are currently pregnant, or be managing any functional limiting medical conditions, please seek medical confirmation prior to participating. At all times, ensure you follow all instructions provided by Vita Health Groups throughout the entirety of the recording. Should you experience any symptoms of dizziness, nausea, or increased pain at any point during your participation, please stop and seek the appropriate advice from your general practitioner or the 111 service.
Hello and welcome to today's class. My name's Danny and I'm going to be your instructor for today. This class is the advanced shoulder class. It's aimed at people who are suffering with shoulder pain or have had shoulder pain recently, and also for people who have a past experience in exercise at an advanced level. We're going to be targeting all of the muscles in and around the shoulder joint and into the upper back. The aims are to improve strength, coordination, flexibility, mobility, a little bit of everything. All of the equipment that you're going to need for today's class is going to be shown on the screen. So all you need to do is grab a glass of water and then we will get started with our warm-up. Let's get started with our warm-up then. So with this warm-up, we're aiming to increase our heart rate, activate the muscles, increase mobility, all ready for our exercise class that's coming up. So we're going to start off nice and simple with just some marching on the spot. We're going to be doing this for 1 minute. Do it at your own pace, whether you want to go nice and slow or quite fast, completely up to you. Fab, let's get going for 1 minute then. Make sure we're swinging those arms, lifting the feet nice and high whilst we're marching. Remember, we're working to increase that heart rate, so just taking it at your own pace. That's great, keep swinging those arms, lifting those knees nice and high. And we are nearly halfway there. Great. Again, taking it at your own pace, just as we start the warm-up. Okay, 10 more seconds. Great, and bring that down to a stop. Brilliant. Okay, next thing we're going to do, we're just going to do some jogging on the spot this time. We're only going to go for 30 seconds this time. Again, doing it at your own pace. Just make sure that you've got a nice, safe environment around you. Okay, when we're ready, off we go. Again, make sure we're moving those arms and lifting those feet nice and high off the floor. That's it, halfway there. Good, 5 seconds left. And bring it down to a stop. Brilliant. Okay, so next thing we're going to do, we're going to go to do some hip circles. So for this one, I want your feet sort of shoulder width apart on the floor and the hands just resting on your hips. We're going to start off with very small circles. So we're going to sort of push the hips to one side, bring them round to the front and round to the back. Again, just do them at your own pace, and also with the circle, just make it as small or as big as you can, depending on how you're feeling. We're going to go for 30 seconds. When we're ready, off we go. That's it. So just make sure we're concentrating on really pushing those hips all the way around the movement. That's good. Because we're coming up to halfway, we're going to switch and go in the opposite direction. Again, like I said, if you need to do small circles with how you're feeling at the moment, that's absolutely fine. Or nice and big circles, doesn't matter. Great, and come to a stop. Okay, for the next exercise, we're going to go into doing some leg swings. For this one, I'm going to do it just freestanding, but if you need to, you can hold onto a wall, hold onto the back of a chair, whichever works best for you. We're going to start off with our right leg. So again, like I said, holding onto something for stability if needs be. We're going to go for 30 seconds. We're just going to lift the leg out in front of us and then slowly lift behind. Okay, off we go. So just swinging that leg at your own pace. Like I said, if you need to hold on to something, then that's absolutely fine. Good. That's great. Keeping the knee nice and straight and just swinging back and forwards. That's it. We've got 5 seconds left on this leg and then we'll switch over. Great. Okay. So if you need to swing the chair around to the other side or reposition yourself so that you can hold onto the wall the opposite way, that's fine. And then we'll go for 30 seconds again. So on the left leg this time, swinging back and forth. That's great. Again, just doing it at your own pace, lifting the leg in a range of movement that's comfortable for you. Good. Okay, 10 seconds left on this leg. Great, and come to a stop, just back into our resting position. So the next activity that we're going to do is going to be with our arms. We're going to go for some arm circles. So what we'll do, we'll start off with our right arm because we started with our right leg. We'll pop our hand out to the side. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with some circles, just going backwards like this. If you need to do the circles nice and small, that's absolutely fine. Obviously, if you can, then we're going to do nice big circles with the arm. Again, just do whatever feels comfortable for you at the moment. And again, we're going to go for 30 seconds. That's it. Like I said, make sure we're doing this one in a comfortable range of movement. It can be as small or as big as you need at the moment. That's great, we've done 15 seconds on this arm. That's great, last 5 seconds. Brilliant, okay. And this time we're going to do the exact same on the left arm. So again, arm out to the side, you can do small circles if you need to, obviously big ones if you can as well. Off we go, 30 seconds on this one. That's great. Again, just going at the speed that sort of works for you at the moment. If you need to move nice and slowly through this movement, that's fine. Obviously, if you can, then obviously we'll go a bit quicker. That's great, and just 5 more seconds. Perfect, okay. Last exercise of our warm-up, we're going to do some movements with our spine. So we're going to work in 4 different directions. We're going to go for a forward movement, a backwards movement, and then side to side as well. So what I'll do first is I'll show you what we're going to do, and then I'll explain how many we're going to do after that. So we're going to have the feet shoulder width apart again. For the forwards movement, I'd like you to have your hands resting on the front of your legs. And then what I want you to do nice and slowly is just come down as far as you can until you start to feel that bit of a stretch in the lower back, and then return up to your neutral position. Then we'll go for the opposite. So this time I'll turn to the side to show you, you're going to lean backwards. Again, just a gentle movement and back up to the neutral position. Then hands down by our sides. It doesn't matter which side you do first, but you're going to bend over to the side, back up, and over to the other side. We're going to do 5 in each direction. Again, just going as far as you can. Okay, we'll do them all together. So if we start at the front, we're going to come down, just go as far as you can, and then back up to that neutral position. Then we're going to lean back, again to the neutral position, hands down by our sides, drop one hand down the side of the leg, back up, and then over to the side. So that's 1 repetition. So now we'll go for our second. So again, we're going to come back down the front, nice and slowly and controlled. And then this time lean backwards. great. And then down to one side, back up and over into the other direction. Brilliant. On to number 3. So back to the front, coming down as far as you can, and back up, and then leaning back and back into that neutral position. Hands down by our sides, and we'll go over to one side and back up, then over to the other side and back up. And now for number 4, back to the front, leaning forwards and back up. Hands on our hips, and we'll lean backwards, back to our neutral position and down to one side and back over to the other direction. Brilliant. Last one now, hands back on the front. We're going to lean down as far as we can, back up to the middle, hands on our hips and lean back to the middle, and then this time we'll drop down one side, back up, and then down to the other side. Okay, that completes our warm-up. So if you want to go and grab a bottle of water ready for our exercise class, and we'll get started. Okay, so this exercise is called the weighted front raise. So we're going to be using our weights again for this one. So make sure you pick them up nice and carefully. We should have one in each hand. Feet shoulder width apart. For this one, we're going to hold the weight in front of our hips, okay? So with the palms facing the body. From here, keeping the shoulders down and keeping your head forward, we're just going to lift the weights up and back down. Okay, so you're just lifting them to 90 degrees. If you can get there. If you can't get that high, that's fine. Just go as far as you can. We're going to go for 3 sets of this exercise. We're going to do 8 repetitions in the first 2, and the last set will be until failure. I'll explain more about what that means when we get there. But for this first one, we're just going to go for 8 repetitions, okay? Off we go. Keeping the rest of the body nice and still. So if I show you from the side, the body should be staying still and it's just the arms moving. We don't want any using our back like this, okay? Because we can cause ourselves some problems. So just lifting, keeping the body still. Okay, 2 more. When you get to 8, come back down, pop the weights down, nice and carefully, keeping the back nice and straight as we do so. Fab. That's the end of the first set then. Grab yourself a quick drink if you need one, and then we'll come back for our second set. Okay, let's get going for our second set then. So nice and carefully again, we're going to lift those weights up. We're going to hold them in front of the hips with the feet shoulder width apart. Remember, we're keeping the shoulders down. We don't want any hunching on this one. And off we go for 8 repetitions. So lift up and back down. Nice steady breathing as we do so. Going at your own pace, whatever feels comfortable for you, as we work up to 8 repetitions. Okay, 1 more. And back down. Brilliant, okay, and then pop those weights down, nice and carefully. Great. Okay, we're going to take 20 seconds break, grab a drink if you need one, and then we'll come back for our final set. Okay, let's get going with our third and final set then. As I mentioned before, this one is going to be until failure. So all that means is that when we're doing the exercise, we're going to keep going until you feel like you cannot lift those weights anymore, okay? don't try and aim for a certain number of repetitions. Just keep going until you feel like your muscles can't lift the weights anymore, or until you find that you're not using the correct form to lift the weight. So if you find that you're lifting nice and well, and then when you get tired, you're starting to use your back or anything like that to try and lift the weight, that means we're at our failure point, okay? So it's at the point where you can't perform the exercise correctly anymore, okay? So lift those weights up nice and carefully. Have them in front of the hips in our starting position, and then off we go. Okay, so we'll probably all be working to different levels on this one, because we're just going to whatever feels right for you. So if you can do more repetitions than I can, then just pause the video, keep going until you find that failure point, and then come back and get started again. Okay, once you've found that failure point, make sure we're putting the weights down carefully. Okay, so that is the end of that exercise. We're going to have a 20-second break. Grab yourself a drink if you need one, and we will come back for the next exercise. Okay, so this exercise is called the weighted internal rotation. So we're going to need our dumbbells or weights for this again. So we need one in each hand. So nice and carefully, we're going to pick those up off the floor. We're going to have the feet in a shoulder width stance, hands down by our sides to start off with. Then you're going to bend the elbows up. So we're in this position. From here, what we're going to do, we're going to go one arm at a time. You're going to bring the weight in towards your stomach, keeping the elbow by your side, and back out. Then we'll do the opposite arm and back out. That's one repetition once we've done it on both sides. We're going to go for 8 repetitions. We're going to do 3 sets. On the final set, we're going to do something slightly different in terms of repetitions, but I'll explain that when we get there. So for now, for this one, we're going to go for 8. So into the starting position with the elbows at 90. And off we go, one arm at a time, bringing it towards the stomach and back out. Nice and slowly, nice steady breathing. Off we go. Keeping the shoulders in a relaxed position. We don't want them hunching up whilst we do this one. Okay, that's halfway. So we've got 4 more on each side. Bringing the weight in towards your stomach. Okay, and the final one, getting yourself all the way up to 8 repetitions on each side, and relax. Okay, pop those weights down nice and carefully, keeping the back nice and straight whilst we do so. Great, so that's the end of the first set. We're going to take a 20-second break, grab yourself a drink if you need one, and then we'll come back for our second set. Okay, on to our second set then. So nice and carefully pick those weights up, one in each hand. Remember, keeping the back nice and straight as we lift them. Okay, feet shoulder width apart. Bend those elbows into our starting position, and off we go for 8 more. So bring the hand in towards the stomach and back out. That's 1. 2. Nice steady breathing. As we move through the exercise, keeping the shoulders down and relaxed. That's halfway. Great, 2 more on each side. Good. Okay, and relax from there. Pop the weights down on the floor nice and carefully, keeping that back nice and straight as we do so. Okay, that's the end of our second set then. We're going to take 20 seconds break, grab a drink if you need one, and then we'll come back for our final set. Okay, and for our final set, like I said before, we're going to do something slightly different with the repetitions. We're going to be working until failure. So what I mean by that is we're just going to keep going until you feel like you can't do any more of this exercise, or that you find that the form when you're doing the exercise is altering, so we're not performing the exercise correctly. If you find that, we're hunching the shoulders or we're moving the body to try and move the weights, then that is our failure point, or at the point where it just feels like you can't lift the weights anymore. Okay, so lift those weights up nice and carefully into our starting position, elbows bent at 90 degrees, and off we go. So just working, like we said, until you feel like you can't do any more. Nice and steady pace. Keeping those elbows tucked in to the side, just rotating the arm. That's great. Okay, when you feel like you've got to your failure point, make sure you stop. If you can do more than I can, that's fine. Just keep going. Pause the video, and then once you've found your failure point, then join back in. Okay, pop the net weights down nice and gently on the mat. Great, okay, that's the end of that exercise then. We're going to take a 20-second break, grab yourself a quick drink, and then we'll come back for our next exercise. Okay, so this exercise is going to be our weighted shrugs. So we're going to need our dumbbells or our weights for this one. So make sure we pick them up nice and carefully, keeping our back nice and straight. We're going to have the weights hanging down by our sides. Okay, so palms facing each other, facing the body. From here, what we're going to do is we're just going to shrug our shoulders. Okay, so the arms stay completely still. You're going to lift the shoulders as high as you can, hold it for 1 second, and then relax back down, okay? We're gonna do 3 sets of these. We're gonna do 8 repetitions in the first 2 sets, and then we're gonna do the last set until failure, but I'll explain that a little bit more when we get there. Okay, so for the first one, let's go for 8 repetitions. So arms stay completely relaxed, just holding on to those weights, and then lift and lower. Okay, a nice, slow and controlled movement. Up. And back down. Holding it for that 1 second up at the top. That's 4. Nice steady breathing. Okay, 1 more. Holding it up at the top. And when we get to 8, we'll relax. Pop the weights down on the floor, nice and carefully. And that is the end of our first set. We're going to take 20 seconds. If you need a drink, make sure you get one, and then we'll come back for our second set. Okay, on to our second set. So we're going to pick those weights up nice and carefully again, keeping the back nice and straight as we lift. Okay, hands down by our sides, and remember palms facing in against the body. From here, we're going to go for 8 repetitions. So we're going to lift, hold, and lower. Okay, 7 more. Lift, hold, and lower. Nice steady breathing throughout. Lifting those shoulders as high as you can on this one. Okay, 3 more. Lift, hold, and lower. Okay, pop those weights down nice and carefully. Okay. Great, okay, we're going to take 20 seconds, grab yourself a drink if you need one, and then we're going to come back for that third set of this exercise. Okay, so on to the third and final set of this exercise. So with this one, like I said, we're going to do something slightly different and we're going to work until failure. So what I mean by that is we're going to keep going until you feel like you can't do any more of this exercise. Okay, so either that the muscles feel too tired to lift, as you try and shrug, you just can't get to the top of that movement, or if you find that you're not using the correct form. So for example, if you find that you're starting to arch the back to try and lift the weights up, then that is your failure point, okay? We want to keep going until we either can't lift the weights anymore or until we can't perform the correct form. Okay, so nice and carefully, bend down and pick up your weights into that position with our legs sort of shoulder width apart, hands resting down by the side, and off we go. We're going to shrug and back down. Remember, we're going until our failure point on this one. Lift, hold, and lower. That's it. Keep going until you feel like you can't do any more. If you can do more than I can, that's absolutely fine. And just pause the video. Keep going until you find your failure point and then join back in once you're ready. Okay, when you are finished, make sure we pop those weights down nice and carefully on our mats. Okay, and that is the end of that exercise. So we're going to take another 20 seconds break. If you need a quick drink, make sure you grab one, and then we'll come back for the next exercise. Okay, so this exercise is called the bicep and anterior deltoid stretch. All that means is we're going to be stretching our bicep muscle in between the elbow and the shoulder, and also our anterior deltoid, which sits at the front of the shoulder joint. For this one, we're going to be on the floor, so take your time getting down to the floor. If you need to pause the video whilst you do so, that's absolutely fine. We're going to sit with the feet flat on the floor for this one. The hands are going to go just behind us with the palms flat on the floor. If you can't get them out behind you, just put them by your side. That's absolutely fine. So the palms are going to go flat on the floor. And then what we're going to do is we're going to shuffle ourselves forwards just until we feel that stretch down the front of the arms, okay, and down the front of the shoulder. So just go as far as you can. We're going to hold it for 20 seconds. We'll have a little break and then we'll go again and we're going to repeat it 3 times, okay? So hands on the mat, shuffle yourself forwards until you feel that stretch, and then let's hold it for 20 seconds. So as with any of our stretches, we want to really focus on our breathing. So nice and slow breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth, and try and think about relaxing the muscles into the stretch. Very good. Also, think about just going as far as you can until you start to feel that gentle stretch. Okay, and come out to there. That's great. Okay, so we're going to have a little bit of a rest. If you need a little bit longer, then just pause the video and come back when you are ready. But if not, we're going to go for another 20 seconds. Okay, so hands behind us, shuffle forwards, and hold there where you can feel the stretch. Off we go. So remembering that we should just be feeling a gentle stretch down the front of the shoulders into the upper arms. Shouldn't be painful. If it's painful, we might be just going a bit too far, so just come back a little bit if that's the case. Okay, and then relax from there. So bring yourself back. That's great. Okay, we're going to have a little bit of a rest again. If you do need longer, make sure to pause the video. If not, then let's get ready to go one more time. So hands behind us and move yourself forwards. And off we go for 20 seconds. That's it. Focusing on the breathing, really trying to relax the muscles as much as you can. That's great, 5 more seconds. And relax from there. That's great. Okay, in your own time, back up to a standing position. And that's that exercise complete. So we're going to have a 20-second rest now. If you need a quick drink, then make sure you grab one, and then we'll come back for the next one. Okay, so this exercise is our plank to push-up position. So for this one, we're going to be down on the floor. So take your time getting down. If you need to pause the video whilst you do that, then make sure you do and just join back in when you're ready. What we're going to do from here, we're going to start in our plank position on the floor, so on our forearms. And then from there, we are going to lift one hand and then the other up into our push-up position. Then we'll drop down, back into our plank, okay? Trying to keep the body as straight as you can throughout. With this one, we're gonna do it on a timer. So we're gonna go consistently for 30 seconds at your own pace. We'll have a bit of a break and then we'll come back for 30 more seconds, okay? So when you're ready, into the plank position. If you find it too difficult as well, you can go on your knees instead, whichever you find better for you. Okay, off we go for 30. So go nice and slowly, at your own pace. Nice steady breathing. For 30 seconds and relax. Okay. So that's the end of our first set. We're going to take 20 seconds break, have a drink if you need one, and then we'll come back for the second set. Okay, and back onto our second set. So again, we're going to get into our position. So like I said before, you can be up on your feet like I showed in the last one, or you can be down on your knees. I'll show you that one for this. So keep the body nice and straight, and we're going to go for 30 seconds. Off we go. So at our own pace. So even when we're on our knees, we're lifting nice and straight with the body. Just do whichever feels right for you at the moment. So you can be up on your feet, which is more difficult, or down on the knees, whichever works for you. Okay, and then rest. And in your own time, we're going to come back up into our standing position. And that is the end of that exercise. So make sure you grab yourself a drink. We'll be back in 20 seconds for our next one. Okay, so this exercise is called the hand walks. We're going to be down on the mat for this one again, so make sure you take your time getting down there. We're actually going to start in a crouched down position. So the feet are on the floor, and we're going to get the hands to the floor as well. Okay, so our hands and feet should be the only contact point with the floor. From here, what you're going to do is just slightly extend the knees so that we've got sort of our weight on our hands. And from here, we're going to walk the hands out as far as we can, and then walk them back in to our crouch position. Okay, we're going to do this one on a timer. So we're going to go for 30 seconds, and I'll tell you when to stop. Then we'll have a little break and we'll come back for a second set. Okay, so into the position. and off we go for 30. So extend those knees so we've got our weight on our hands. Slowly, at your own pace, walk the hands in and out. Going nice and slowly, at your own pace with this one, remember. And you can take as big or little steps with the hands as you feel comfortable. That's great, and then stop there. Okay, so that's the end of our first set of that one. We're going to take a 20-second break, grab a drink if you need one, and then we'll come back for the second set. Okay, back to our second set then. So we're going to get back down into that crouched position on the mat. So hands and feet, remember, are the only contact point with the floor. Extend those knees so that we can sort of straighten the arms and put some weight through them. And off we go for 30 seconds. So nice and slowly, like I said, at your own pace. In and back out. Make sure we're breathing nice and steady throughout the movement. Okay, 10 more seconds. Squeeze in those core muscles as we get out to the furthest point. And that's great. Okay, back up to our standing position. And that is the end of this exercise. We're going to have a 20-second break. Make sure you grab yourself a drink and then we'll come back for the next one. Okay, this exercise is called ulnar nerve glides. All that means is that we're going to be gliding the ulnar nerve in the arm back and forwards throughout this exercise. There's quite a few instructions that go along with this one, so I'll give you an example first and then we'll get started. So you're going to start with the hand down by your side. We're going to go one side at a time. You're going to make a circle with your index finger and your thumb down by your side. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bring that up towards our cheek, like so. And then we're going to rotate the hand towards the little finger, towards the back, so that the fingers sit under our cheeks and that circle is right next to our cheekbone, okay? From here, what we're going to do is we will gently take our head to the opposite side, so away from the hand, and bring the elbow down slightly, then come back up, and then back down. Okay, we're going to do this as a timed exercise, so we're going to do it for 20 seconds and then we'll take a break, we'll go again, and we're going to do it 3 times through. Okay, so fingers and thumb into that circle, then we're going to bring that up towards our cheek and then rotate the hand backwards so that the fingers sit under the jaw and the circle sits next to the cheekbone, and then off we go. We're going to take the head out, drop the elbow and come back in, drop the elbow and the head and back in. Okay, keep going at your own pace. That's great. Okay, and then relax from there. Okay, we're going to do the same thing on the opposite hand and then we will have a break and come back and go again. So arm down by our side, circle with the index finger and the thumb, bring that up to next to your cheek. Rotate the hand backwards so that the fingers come towards the jaw and the circle comes towards our cheekbone. And off we go for 20 seconds. We're going to take the head away, drop the elbow and come back up. Okay, and just repeat that nice and slowly for 20 seconds. Just going as far as you can with this one. Okay. And relax from there. Brilliant. Right, let's take a 20-second break and then we'll come back and do the second set. Okay, let's get started with the second set of this exercise. So let's start with the first hand that we did. So hand down by our side, finger and thumb into a circle. Then we're going to bring that up towards our cheek. Rotate the hand backwards so the fingers sit just underneath the jaw and the circle sits next to our cheekbone. And then off we go for 20 seconds. We're going to come out, drop the elbow in the head and back up to that neutral position. Drop the elbow in the head and back up. Keep going. That's great. And then relax from there. And we're going to do the same thing on the opposite hand. So make that circle with the index finger and the thumb. Bring that up to the cheek. Rotate the hand so that the fingers sit below the jaw and the circle sits next to our cheekbone. And off we go for 20 seconds. Drop the elbow in the head and back up. And back down and up. Nice and slowly, remember, at your own pace. Nice steady breathing. Okay, and then relax from there. Okay, let's have a 20-second break and then we'll come back for the third and final set of this exercise. Okay, into our last set of this exercise. So let's go back to the original hand that we used. So we're going to make that circle with our index finger and our thumb. Bring that up to the cheek. Rotate the hand so that the fingers sit below the jaw and the circle sits next to our cheekbone. And then off we go for 20 seconds. We drop the elbow, drop the head and back up. Okay, and just repeat that movement. Nice and slowly at your own pace. Nice and steady breathing. That's great. And then relax from there. And we're going to go with the opposite hand now. So circle again with our index finger and thumb. Bring that up to the cheek. Rotate the hand backwards so that the fingers sit under the jaw and then the circle next to the cheekbone. Okay, off we go for 20 seconds. Drop the head away from the hand and drop the elbow and back up. And drop and back up. It's good, nice and steady, nice controlled movements. Very good. And relax from there. Okay, that's the last set of this exercise. It's also the last exercise of this class before we go into our cool down. So we're going to take another 20 seconds. Make sure you get yourself a drink and then I'll meet you back here for our cool down. Okay, let's get started with our cool down. So with the cool down, we're going to be focusing on bringing that heart rate back down, bringing our breathing rates back down, and sort of just relaxing the muscles after the class that you've done. So we're going to start off nice and easy with 30 seconds of deep breathing. So for the breathing, I'd really focus on breathing in through the nose and then breathing back out through the mouth. We're wanting those nice deep breaths. So when we are breathing in, try and think about sort of filling the rib cage, and then obviously releasing on the breath out. Okay, we're going to go for 30 seconds all together. Off we go. So like I said, breathing in through the nose and back out through the mouth. And make sure, like we said, we're really trying to fill that rib cage with air when we're breathing in and then breathing out nice and slowly. You might find that at the moment, because you've just finished the exercises, that it's a bit difficult to slow that breathing rate down, but just go at your own pace. Okay, fab. What we're going to go on to next, again, nice and easy, we're going to go on to some walking on the spots. So in the warm-up before, we were obviously trying to increase our heart rate with the marching and the jogging. This time we're trying to bring it back down. So we're going to go nice and slowly and just walk on the spot. Okay, for 30 seconds, off we go. That's great. So still swinging those arms like we were before, but obviously just in a bit more of a relaxed position on this one and going a little bit slower. That's great, that's halfway there. Five more seconds. Great, okay, this time we're gonna move on to doing some hip circles. So we did these in our warm up before, but again, a bit like the walking, we're gonna bring the pace down on this one. So we're gonna have the feet shoulder width apart, hands on the hips, and again, make the circles as small or as big as you can. And we're just gonna go big circles with the hips, nice and slowly. We're gonna do 30 seconds all together, off we go. So bringing the pace down a little bit on this one, just moving through the full movement, nice and slowly. We can still concentrate on our breathing in these cool down exercises. So really trying to slow that breathing down. 10 more seconds. Great, okay. For the next movement, we're going to be going down to the floor. So take your time getting down. If you need to hold on to something, then do that. Nice and carefully onto the floor. And we're going to have the feet out in front, legs nice and straight. I want you to try and keep the knees as straight as possible with this one. And then we're going to rest the hands on front of the thighs. From here, we're just going to slide down the legs just as far as you can, and we want to grip on to our legs as close as we can to our ankles, and we're going to hold that stretch for 30 seconds. Okay, so moving down just as far as you can, and then let's hold for 30 seconds. Off we go. Still focusing on that breathing when we're doing this movement, so breathing nice and slowly in and out, and we should feel that nice gentle stretch down the back of the legs. Okay, we're halfway there. Ten seconds left. And 5 seconds. Okay, and sit back up into that relaxed position. We're going to get ourselves back up into a standing position, but again, take your time. If you need to hold on to something to help you get up, then that's absolutely fine. Okie doke. Once we're up then, for the next movement, we're going to be doing some stretches, mobility work for the middle back. So we're going to have the feet shoulder width apart again. The hands this time are going to come up behind the head. And we're going to be doing 4 different movements. So we're going to be coming down into a forward position, back up and into a slightly extended position. Then we're also going to do some flexion to the side, back up into a middle position and over to the side. Okay, we might add in a little bit of rotation too, just to stretch a few extra muscles. We're going to go for 30 seconds. I want you to go at your own pace, and we're just going to move through all those different movements, just making sure that we're stretching all the right muscles. Okay, off we go all together. So coming forwards, back up into that slightly extended position, and back down, over to the sides, and then rotating. That's great. And again, we're going to go slightly forwards and up and slightly back. Then we're going to lean to the sides. And again, we might go slightly over 30 seconds, but we want to get all those movements back in. And the final rotation. Okay, and then bring the arms back down into our neutral position. We're going to finish off by doing 30 seconds of our deep breathing again. So we're going to go in through the nose, out through the mouth, make sure we're trying to fill that rib cage there, and then release. Okay, off we go. So hopefully this breathing will be sort of easier now. Hopefully you'll be breathing that a little bit slower. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Again, really trying to fill that rib cage with air. Down. Brilliant. Okay, well done everyone. So thank you for attending our exercise class today. We hope you've enjoyed it, and we hope to see you very soon on our next session. Thank you.